Today we're going to look at repotting some jewel orchids that I've picked up recently from various places online. They all seem to be in relatively good nick. Nice Macodes there and some discolor, but a lot of them need to be repotted. They're only just in a temporary pot. For example, those two, that's how they arrived from online a few days ago, and they need to be repotted. Right, this is the ingredients we're going to use. 5% fine orchid bark, 2% coir peat, some chopped up sphagnum moss, just the stuff that you buy from big box stores, not the real stuff. This is proper sphagnum moss from New Zealand. Each strand is guaranteed to be 6 inches or 150 mil long, whereas this stuff comes like that. It's all right for cutting up and putting in orchid pots, but the proper sphagnum moss, that one I showed you there, comes from New Zealand, is what we're going to put on the top of these jewel orchids. And the last thing we need is 1 part of pumice. It's 1 to 7 mils of pumice. So we'll mix them all up together. Pretty dry mix, so we'll put some water in it pretty soon. But we need to get it mixed up first. I'll add the pumice to it, sprinkle it round. And then we'll start to mix it all up together. We want a reasonably homogeneous mix. We don't want it to layer out in the pots. Now that seems to be pretty good. Right, first up, we'll have a look at Spiderman here. What healthy little plants they are. Look at the veins on those. They're in pretty good condition actually. I think that's the pot that it arrived in. I think what I'll do is I'll get all the sticky paper off it first. That's a good start. And then we can have a look and see. There appears to be a slit in the... I might actually have done that. It's a very small little pot. We'll repot that into a 3-inch pot. So I'll very carefully upend pot and give it a tap and a squeeze. Oh, gasp. That's been planted in dirt. That's mud. Alright, I'll have to remove a little bit of that because we don't want the roots to get soggy. Not that they have very many roots. We don't want them to get soggy like that. Yeah, they're all browned off. There's another new shoot in there. I'll get rid of as much of this as I can, because that is the last thing we want in the pot. The little one, that's one's become separated. That's just a single plant. I'll pot that up by itself. The other ones I'll leave together. So we'll start off by putting a little bit of our mix into the bottom of the pot, about that amount, because we have to work out how deep we want this plant to go. We want a little bit more in there. That's about the height that we want this to be, so that the top is just over the top of the pot. I'll run round and put some of our potting mix all around the edge, tap it down very gently and get around there. There we go. That looks alright. While I'm at it, I'll cut that old leaf off there. When it comes to jewel orchids, you don't cut anything off unless it's old or dying. You don't just snap pieces off here and there. Alright, that looks okay.
Alright, now I'll get the label that I wrote for that plant. Now the name of this plant is Anoectochilus roxburghii crossed with Lusidia discolor. Its common name is Spiderman.
I'll put the label in that. I'll put that aside in a moment after we've checked these other ones. then I'll show you how I water the pots. And while we're at it, I'll have to write another label for this little guy here that came out. Looking healthy, but got a lot of crap on it. Dear oh dear. Right, I'll put some potty mix in that and with our plant on top so it's sitting up straight. There we go. Fill some potting media in around it, tamping it down very, very carefully. Look at the markings on that leaf, isn't it beautiful? Right, so I'll have to write a label for that. I'll do that in a moment. Now the next one we've got is a Lusidia discolor. I'll take the label out and it doesn't look too bad. It's in relatively good nick, but I still need to have a look and see what it's been potted in. There it comes, lots of little stones in the bottom, keeping the roots aerated, a little bit of sphagnum moss. Actually, that's very good. This plant has come from a professional orchid grower, so he knows exactly what he's doing. I'll put a little bit of our media in there. We'll pop the sphagnum moss back in again, line the plant, tamp down some media around the top of it, push it down a little bit. Once these have all been done, I'm going to put some live sphagnum moss on the top, so we need to leave a little bit of room there so that after I've watered them we can put some sphagnum moss on. Now, Macodes petola. Isn't that a lovely looking plant? Look at the leaves on it, the veins in it. Absolutely lovely. Right, take the label out and have a look and see. This one comes from there's an old leaf there I'll cut off before we start. This one here, this jewel here has come from the same professional orchid grower of great reputation. So I won't bother to unpack that one and repot it. I'll just put a tiny bit more of our medium on the top and we'll put some sphagnum moss on that in a moment. Now, two more here that we're going to do. These will definitely be repotted. I'll take the aluminium off first so we can see what goodies we've got inside here. I'll take the paper off and then we can see what we've got. And I'll take that little discolor out. Lovely veined leaf on that, absolutely beautiful. That's a discolor, I'll put that over there. I'll repot that one first up. And then we'll do the Argentea. I'll pop this little guy up. Little bit of roots on him because they don't root very much. Hide that over there, then potting media in. A little bit in behind it to hold it up straight. Leave a bit of room to put our live sphagnum moss on. Over there. Now we'll have a look at Argentea and take some of the, it's very wet and soggy. Clean that out a bit. And a little bit too much moss in there. I think that was there because it was shipped. So surely wouldn't normally pack it in that much moss. It's absolutely sopping wet. Alright, that has got nice looking leaves there. Pale of veins running down them.
So this guy we'll put into a 3-inch pot. It's going to be way too big for a 2-inch pot. So I'll put some media in first.
And we can work out how high the plant has to be. I think that's about it. Potting media around each side or around every side, tamping it down. A bit more around there. We want it to be firm.
And a bit more at the back.
Right, there he is. Now put a label into that plant. That's the name there. That aside. Here is a discolor. Lovely pattern leaves. Label into that. Now before I put any live sphagnum moss over these pots, show you how I water them.
And it's an excellent way to do it. This is a 50ml syringe with a piece of 4ml poly tube on the end of it. I fill it up from a container, then you can get right in around the base of the plant
And water them
without worrying about
getting water on the leaves, etc. and or in other growing points, leaf follicles, and having them rot out on you. Right, that's the first two. Now we'll do the next batch. Macodes first. A little bit inside there. Then a discolor. Run down. Another discolor over there. And the individual Spiderman that came off when I was cleaning the soil off the roots. Right, that's what I use, and very, very good. Very easy to use. Alright.
I'll get the large packet of sphagnum moss, open the top.
There we go. And we'll start off with
2 large pots here.
I'll get some sphagnum moss in my hand. You can see it's live, it's growing. And pull off little pieces and put it around the top of the pot, being very careful of the jewel that we've just repotted. Turn it round. A little bit over here. Spiderman, that'll give him a good start. And that sphagnum moss will continue to grow and it'll stay green.
Now for Argentea, the same thing.
Sphagnum on it. Move it round so it's covered completely. This will help retain moisture, but without getting the roots excessively wet. It'll retain moisture. Now the other ones. Lusidia first. Another discolor. I'll put more sphagnum on that. Cover it all the way around. Done. Another discolor here. Lovely markings on the leaves. Absolutely lovely. You see some that are relatively plain. These ones are quite lovely. Another Spiderman. Moss around the top. What a sunny day down here today, so I hope it's not affecting the light in the video too much. Now last, but definitely not least, our Macodes. I've sphagnum on it and down under that corner down there. Alright, put the live sphagnum away, do the bag up. There's our finished product. 4 of them there. The other 2 in the large pots over here. Alright, excellent. And that's how I repot my jewel orchids.